And with the practice of Satipatthana, one is also practicing the noble way constituents, and by doing so, one can extinguish kilesas. Then he said, if one undertakes the practice of Eightfold Path, then automatically one is said to be practicing the three trainings of Sila, Samadhi, Panya. So in this way, these statements, assertions are interrelated. And with this, we ended the talk yesterday. However, nowadays, some teachers in some parts of the world, even inside the country and outside the country, say in their teachings that what if the followers, the students, just follow the teachings, if know their teachings or listen to the teachings, the spiritual purpose will be accomplished automatically. And to the extent that even sila is not necessary. Even one need not practice or sustain the morality. So long as one is just sitting and meditating, that's enough. So they are teaching as though things can be accomplished without actually undertaking the practice. So, as some even said that without even practicing, one can accomplish the purpose. Such teachings are prevailing, by persuading their followers. It is surprising. There are these individuals called Ogati Tenyu and Vipassi Tenyu. These people they have very high wisdom. They can attain very fast. These two individuals, there are many such individuals during the Buddha's time. For them, without practicing, purposely practicing, just listening and being mindful and fully aware, they were able to gain insight. There are many such people during the Buddha's time. However, there's another type of individual known as Neya Pukla. Such people have to practice after listening to the Dhamma. And for them, if they don't undertake their practice by listening to the Dhamma, even the Buddha cannot help them. They have to practice. Again, these Ogati Tenyu, these individuals known as Ogati Tenyu. For them, as once they listen to the correct method of practice, they're very sharp in attaining the Dhamma or understanding the Dhamma very quickly. They're sharp-witted. Whereas the second individual, Vipassi Tenyu, they have to elaborate the brief discourse given to them. They have to elaborate to some extent, and they are able to understand the Dhamma, gain insight. We may say that these two individuals are extraordinary type of individuals who can attain very fast. Out of these two individuals, as for the first one, they are people like Elder Sariputta. This Upatesa, who was a would-be Sariputta. Young Upatesa went round in search of the liberating Dhamma, Mokkha Dhamma. In the course of his journey, he met this Asaji, one of the group of 5, and requested Asaji to give him a brief discourse, which the letter gave, beginning with the Ye Dhamma Hetu Bhava. That means that all Dhamma, everything has a cause. All the effects have causes. They are not free from causes. By listening to this short discourse, he was able to become be mindful and fully aware of all the arising mind and body, mentality in his body. Cultivating this insight knowledge, the nature of mind, body, conditionality, and the universal characteristics, just progressing along the path of the insight knowledge, he was able to attain the fast path. So, such people can attain very quickly as a result of their past perfections, paramis, spiritual perfections, by which, with their sharp knowledge, they were able to attain, see the Dhamma at once, suddenly. As for, in this case here, some people, some teachers are teaching that you don't have to sustain morality, sila, by just listening to the talk, you can attain, you can accomplish the purpose. So we can just consider whether this is reasonable or not. As for this Vipassana Tenyu, he has to understand, he has to listen to the basic Dhamma and then elaborate on that point. As for the brief Dhamma that is given to him, the meaning is not well understood, so he or she had to elaborate on this brief Dhamma so as to understand the significance of the talk. Then this person will attain the Ariyahood. So this person, Vipassana Tenyu, is slower than the first one, namely Vipassana Tenyu. So out of these four individuals, that is two of them, Neya and ordinary person, these two people, Vipassana Tenyu, Vipassana Tenyu. As for the first, Vipassana Tenyu, the first one, is the sharpest individual who can attain the Dhamma, who can understand the Dhamma, and Vipassana Tenyu can be given as a second class individual who can attain or understand the Dhamma. So even they have to be mindful and fully aware. They have to apply mindfulness on one of the four objects of attention, namely Kaya, Vedana, Citta, Dhamma, objects of the body, feeling or sensations, objects of the mind, or general Dhamma objects. Without being mindful and fully aware, it is not customary, or one cannot attain Panya Bhavana, one cannot practice, one cannot cultivate this Panya Bhavana, meditation or mind development on wisdom. That is what has been given in the text. So, and also in the stories which had been during the Buddha's time, it's mentioned here and there, and the stories of some individuals, such as so and so had grieved, overcome by sorrow, and he or she listened to the Dhamma and gained insight, understood the Dhamma. Or he or she, as Parideva, suffered from lamentation, and by listening to the talk from the Buddha, and they are able to attain Ariyahood, gain the insight and understood the Dhamma at once. So, such has been given in the text, as though by just listening, one can attain, or one can attain the first path, second path, third path, and final path. And such has been written. But it's not so. One has got to apply mindfulness as regards any one of the four objects of attention, Kaya, Vedana, Citta, Dhamma, which suits them most, or suits him or her most, without which it's not customary to attain Ariyahood or to be able to gain this Panya, wisdom bhavana. And Vipassana Tenyu have to apply mindfulness, have to note every arising phenomena in their body, not just by listening. So while they are listening, they are practicing mindfulness and full awareness. So without which they are not he will not be able to cultivate wisdom. And such is the proof. This statement is a proof of the statement that one has got to practice, without which one cannot attain the spiritual goal. So if some teachers say one need not undertake the practice, one need not sustain sila, morality, and by listening to his talk, one can understand the Dhamma. Whether such a statement is reasonable or not, one can just find out by oneself. As for the third individual out of these four, known as Neya Pukkala, if he or she doesn't undertake the practice of meditation, even the Buddha cannot help him or her gain insight or understand the Dhamma. At this point, such a person has to listen to the correct method given in brief udesa. Then, in order to become convinced about the meaning, he or she will have to pose questions to the teacher who explain in detail so that he or she becomes satisfied with the significance of the Dhamma, and after which he or she has to apply mindfulness attentively, pay attention to the object of attention, and practice meditation. So, in order to reach the stage, or to reach this situation, he or she has got to depend on what is known as Kalyana Mitta, good companion or good teacher. By studying this correct method, and then repeatedly listen to it, try to understand the meaning of it, and undertake the practice, and so on. Then only he or she will be able to understand the Dhamma and gain insight. In short, one has got to approach the good teacher, good companion, Kalyana Mitta, who can take him along, so to speak, in order to gain insight. By showing the method of meditation, explaining in detail, then only he or she will be able to understand the Dhamma, gain insight. Such kind of individuals are known as Neya Pukkala. Out of these individuals, three individuals we have just discussed. The first two are almost rare nowadays, almost none, very rare. As for the third individual, Neya, they are still existing. They are depending on the Kalyana Mitta, good companion. They practice within 24 hours, except the time when they are fast asleep, always continuously noting, as we say, guarding himself or herself with vigilant mindfulness of every arising, by being mindful and fully aware of any one of the objects, obvious objects which suits them most, or suits him or her most, with focusing energetically and sustaining mindfulness. Such individuals are known as Neya Pukkala, the third type of individual. So, and this such people cannot gain the Dhamma just by listening the talk. They have to understand the correct method and undertake the practice. Only then they will be able to understand the Dhamma, which is as given in this stanza extract from the text, which gives as follows: Domehi kecha matapa ekhataro tathagata patipanna pamokhanti jayino marabandana. The meaning given here is you yourself should make the effort. The Tathagatas only can show the way. Those who practice the tranquility and insight meditation are free from the bonds of Maya. It means that one has got to practice, one has got to exert energy, the four kinds of striving, samabara lamnavariya, in order to dry up the kilesas, to oust the kilesas. defilements at the risk of one's body and life. And that's what the Buddha means in this case. So you have to undertake your practice by yourself. You cannot just lie idle. So what about the Buddha teachers? Well, the Buddha is Ekadaro. He is merely a guide who can show the way. In this stanza we just read, it is given as the Tathagatas, Buddhas. Given. Why is it given in the plural number? The reason is that not only this present Buddha himself, but the previous Buddhas have said the same thing. There are two kinds of jhana as given by this jayino expression given just in the verse, in the extract of the text. Two kinds of jhana, namely samatha jhana and vipassana jhana. The tranquility, absorption, you might say, or tranquility, concentration, one-pointedness, and vipassana, insight, absorption, vipassana jhana. For those who note or are mindful of samatha objects, they can be absorbed in samatha jhana. And those who practice insight, as we all are doing, paying attention to insight object, they can attain insight jhana, vipassana jhana. Such is walking the path laid down by the Buddha, Patipanna, given by the expression Patipanna. As for the samatha practitioner, the one who practices tranquility meditation will be paying attention to the samatha object, conceptual object, and those who practice Satipatthana, insight, will be paying attention, being mindful of the Satipatthana object. They don't have to purposely establish or note the samatha object. And one has to apply the ardent energy, Anapana, exert energy with alertness, wakefulness, activity, diligence, in order to note every arising object, beginning with the main object of rising and falling. Such is Anapana, ardent energy, the heat of the energy. So one exerts energy, atapa, in order to sustain one's mindfulness on the object of attention in the form of driving force, so that the mind will be free from kilesa bondage, and it will not be undermined by the impurities as a result of the application or exertion of energy, atapa, adunavariya, or atapa, drying up the impurities, so that one will become free of kilesas, and one will overcome kilesas, destroy kilesas. Let us say, every time if one notes, every time rising and falling takes place, notes its object, in order not to miss it or miss them, every second of the time, applying this energy all the time, in the form of driving force, in order to sustain your mindfulness on the object of attention continuously, so that there will be unification of the mind, the concentration will become intensified, the mind falls calm and collected on the object of attention. Just imagine at that moment. As one is applying this ardent energy in order to drive or sustain one's mindfulness on the object of attention, instead of being slack, cool, in a cool, easy manner, relaxed manner, in a laid-back manner, instead one is applying the heat of energy. Then the mindfulness will be sustained on the object. Thus, kilesas will not be accepted. With the viriya energy, kilesas are not accepted. By not accepting, they are said to be abandoned or discarded or overcome. Not overcoming and not discarding the kilesas which have already arisen or which have started to have arisen, but not allowing them, not giving them a chance. to arise in your stream of consciousness. That is what is meant by abandoning. Not abandoning because they have risen, but abandoning by not giving a chance to arise in your stream of consciousness. You are giving a chance for this akusala, unwholesomeness, to arise in your stream of consciousness. Not giving opportunity to these kilesas to arise. With one moment of noting, you are overcoming kilesas for one moment. Kilesas will not have a chance to arise for one moment. So you are drying up the kilesas for that moment. And by this, you are said to be abandoning, overcoming kilesas, not because they have already risen or they have begun to rise, but that they are not giving a chance to arise. So in this way, you are overcoming these kilesas with the application of energy known as ardent energy. So you are paying attention. As much as you pay attention, you are able to grasp these objects. Every time you note, sustaining the mindfulness, giving rise to the intensification of concentration. In this case, momentary concentration. Khandika samadhi. Falling momentarily calm and collected on the object noted. In this way, you are applying these concentration group, the three mental states, wholesome mental states, known as Vriya, Sati, Samadhi. This group. With Adapa, Luna, Vriya, you are not accepting kilesas. You are abandoning them. Opening a way to kusala, wholesomeness, but preventing or blocking the path to akusala, unwholesomeness. So with the sati, the mindfulness being sustained, mindfulness has the property or quality of protecting your mind, as we have discussed at one time. So with mindfulness, sati, kilesas are prevented from arising in the stream of consciousness. And with the resulting concentration of the mind falls calm and collected in a one-pointed manner on the object of attention. So at that moment, just when these three mental forces are arising, there cannot be any chance for the undermining elements, the hindrances of progress arise in the stream of consciousness. They have no chance. They are said to be subdued or overcome. Such is tranquility, samatha, which is practiced in the course of insight meditation for Vipassana yogis. They don't have to practice samatha meditation purposely, but this thing arises as you are subduing or tranquilizing, calming down the hindrances to progress, undermining elements. So, with the continuous mindfulness, concentration takes place. Such concentration takes place on the arising object, beginning with the main object of rising and falling, or every object that arises in the body and mind. And you can consider these objects, rising and falling and so on, as samatha objects. So, initially, you are taking an aim at the object of attention. The objective field is focused, so that you are able to cultivate knowledge, beginning with the discernment of the materiality, mentality, and their causal mode and the universal characteristics. These are the Vipassana objects. These Vipassana objects of intensive insight meditation, are the mind-body objects, psychophysical phenomena, nama-rupa objects. So in the object are these nama-rupa objects which you note, and these objects are both samatha object and vipassana object, as well as vipassana object. They can both objects. So with the application of energy, you are sustaining mindfulness and concentrating the mind, so that you are able to see the true nature of the objects noted, such as jai. And as much as you are absorbed in that, you are undertaking the correct practice. You are the practitioner. In short, noting every arising in the body, at the moment of arising, presently arising object, or immediately arising object. Be with the present, with full force, mobilizing full mental powers, such as Jai, paying meticulous attention, such is given us. And those who practice like this, known as Patipana, the practice. And that is Patipana, given as practitioner. Whoever pay attention with full force as regards the presently immediate arising object, Jai is Patipana, the practitioner. And one is said to be walking the right path, straight path, direct path. If one walks the direct path, then what is the benefit? The benefit is freedom from bondage, as is given by this Amakandi Mara Bandhana. Freedom from the bondage of Mara. That is the result. That is the benefit of walking the right path. Free from Mara. Mara means a killer. Killing, the one who kills those who are not free from kilesas. If you are not free from kilesas, you will be killed by Mara. So Mara is killer, murderer. The murderer is not outside your body, it is inside, in your very body, in your very self. So don't look for murderer outside. If you have a desirable object, in respect of objects that you desire, there will be desire, you'll be wanting this object, craving for these objects, desirable objects, and this is your internal enemy, internal killer. This can erupt into violent deeds by body and speech, leading to consequences, violent consequences, and you can even die of it. The fatal consequences. Even if you don't, if a person, your body doesn't break up or dies, your dignity, your honor will die. You will lose your dignity, your honor. And when you come across undesirable objects, which will cause you to become upset or angry or cause ill will, then you'll be indulging in this kind of kilesa, anger or aversion, ill will, by which you can commit unwholesome deeds with grave consequences, leading to death. Even if you don't die, your honor and dignity will die. You will lose honor and dignity. And if you are not able to see the true nature of the objects, not knowing what is kusala, akusala, you become stupid and foolish. Thus you may die even, or you may at least you will lose honor if you don't die. So these things are your killers, murderers. So if you are not being able to apply mindfulness, then this Mara in the form of Videgama kilesas is going to kill you. And not being able to cultivate mindfulness of every rising in order to control your mind, cultivate your mind, then again you will be killed by this killer Mara. If you are not able to control your mind with mindfulness, then you will be indulging in, you'll be doing unwholesome deeds, thinking about unwholesome deeds, obsessed in your mind to kill, steal, and so on. Such is Mara active in your mind. You are being attacked by Mara. So that these things happen because you have been this Anusya Kilesa, latent tendencies are with you all along your lifetimes. So all along your lifetimes you have this latent tendency. That's why this faint mental tendency erupting into gross or medium obsessive form, and then again erupting into gross forms of misconduct. So once if you have no moral practice, you don't sustain morality, nor practice mindfulness, There's no means of preventing, abstaining, overcoming, no means of protection or overcoming. Instead, you are indulging in these unwholesome deeds, impurities. Such, in this way, you are being bound. You are under bondage of these impurities. Now, with the practice of mindfulness, you are Jai, practitioner. You are free from bondage because you are not allowing this great hatred and delusion to rise in the stream of consciousness. They have no chance to enter, to attack you. So you are free from bondage. And because you are noting and knowing, there's no unknowing, no stupidity, no moha, no delusion, no other corruptions. So with one moment of noting, you're free from one moment of bondage. One moment you're free from bondage. So in this way you're strengthening it. By strengthening your practice, cultivating insight knowledge, reaching to the progressing along the path towards the maturity of liberating wisdom, you come to realize the path and fruition knowledge of the noble ones, by which you are able to free yourself from bondage. There will be no bondage. At least you will be free from the apaya bondage, apaya-related bondage, bondage which can, the bondage, the lack of freedom, which will kill you, which will bring you down, pull you down into the states of loss. And that, by this, you are said to be Patipanna, the practitioner. So, Satipatthana, with Satipatthana, giving you protection, you are overcoming, you are being free from this bondage, and because you are practicing Jai, practicing mindfulness of every arising in the body, by focusing, taking an aim at the object, and applying your energy. And this, you have to do it yourself. So as just we have explained, goes to say that Buddha himself, these are the things Buddha himself has given, preached, and is given in the Dhamma verse 276. And Buddha can only give the practice of the noble part of the constituents in a brief manner, and no Buddha can just give you the command or let you happen so and so, that you become so and so. Nobody can say that. Even the Buddha cannot say that. Only it is the duty of the Savakas, disciples, to take up the practice in accordance with the guidance given. If one practices samatha, one pays attention to the samatha object, conceptual object. Those who practice insight meditation, vipassana, they pay attention to the vipassana nama-rupa objects in order to cultivate the vipassana penya. And to the vipassana nama-rupa objects in order to cultivate the vipassana penya. And to the vipassana nama-rupa objects in order